and thank you Red Bull and LATriClub for having me tonight. Two quick disclaimers I like to say, what you should probably know about me. I actually get massive anxiety having to say I, me, and my so much. So just take inventory of that as I'm talking, that every time I say I, me, and my, I don't really love it, but I know it's trying to share some things with you. And my second goal is not to bore you to tears, and I don't want to be up here like you're watching paint dry. So that's my goal. I'm just gonna have my double fisting going and get going on this. I was once a amateur triathlete, just like you are, and I was trying to sort of wade my way through the vast knowledge, ocean of knowledge, right, in this, trying to master the three disciplines of swimming, biking, running. And our sport, as you probably know, just like life, it's this roller coaster of emotion. The highs are high, the lows are low. But at the end, right, we become human and we feel alive, and it's captivating and it brings us back. So what's so crazy is that I've been doing this since 2000 and I'm still learning. 57 Ironmans later, I'm still learning. Every single one I learn. Thank you. But I am still learning, and I'm still searching frantically for that elusive, perfect race. It might never happen. If it does, sweet. But until these legs won't run anymore, I'm gonna keep trying. So in our world, we live by the words, congratulations, you are an Ironman, right? Like Riley. We search for him. We search for him all day long. I mean, who genuinely gets up at dark 30 and says, you know what, I think I'm gonna run, swim 2.4 miles, ride 112 miles, and, just do a little 26.2 mile run. Like you, I also have a screw or two loose, and I do this nonsense as well. And so how did I get here? All these I's, it kills me. So nearly 21 years ago, I stood in front of my high school for my junior speech, and I spoke about the pressure that parents put on their kids to be number one. And I specifically remember starting the speech with, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. The person who said winning isn't everything probably never won anything. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
And what was so ironic for me at the time, though, is that my parents always told me that as long as I did my best, that was all that mattered. And I don't think I really captured or understood the importance of this profound statement at the time, but this by far was the best advice to this day that my parents could have ever given me, personally, professionally, physically, academically. So this mindset, of course, shouldn't be, misinterpreted that I was satisfied with losing. I still, to this day, remember my dad carrying me off of the track, six laps into an 8-lap race, defending a state championship when I physically couldn't go anymore. Or the time I lost in the 500 free by .01 to the most important swim race of my life. The kicker was losing my senior year of high school. We didn't defend our state championship. We had won 3 years prior. I proceeded to run into the woods, sobbing. I had to be carried out of the woods by my coach, and it was just because we lost fair square. We lost, and I was so upset that it was our senior year and I'd never have that magical time again. You should know that the sorrow was placated by having massive amounts with my friends of Oreos, nachos, and ice cream, and all was well in the world. So you can see where, the good always outshines the bad. So my point of telling you the aforementioned is to acknowledge that, right, that some days, both in athletics and in life, we are just not going to be the best on that day. And I feel like as long as you give it everything you can muster and you did your best, that's all that matters. And secondly, sort of has to do with maturity. And we all experience that aha moment of, wow, all right, cool. I kind of am growing up in my life right now. I kind of get it. I still kind of carry that great piece of advice my parents bestowed on me back in the day, and I bring it into every race, every training session, every high, every low, and you start to realize, all right, it's okay to be a little vulnerable and put yourself out there to fail or to prosper, and it's okay to do that every day. So, by the way, I'm not insinuating that I don't get sad at times when I do fail, and shoot, I'm 37 years old and I still have a crying jag. I feel like it's natural and normal, and it means you care and you're not immune to the ups and downs of life. So now that we've sort of basically established that I'm like a sobby little schoolgirl, let me tell you some of the tools I personally use to sort of manage this roller coaster ride of life, and it sort of took me to where I reside in today. I consider myself a former Ohioan small town girl turned, Californian girl. I swim, bike, run for a living, and I'm hoping where I can be enlightening and fulfilling to you is to kind of give you the lens that I personally look through to achieve my goals and dream a little bit in color. So this one's touchy. I often, I really often get, told how lucky I am, lucky, that word, to be a professional triathlete and living my dream. And so of course I understand where they're coming from and how we all throw that word luck around when good things happen to someone, but yet in reality, I think it's important for anyone to really establish that following your dream, it doesn't happen because of luck. I think that would mean that no work or no planning went into achieving that goal, and I can say with certainty that our life had a plan, with peaks and valleys, yes, but there was always a plan. I think being a professional triathlete was always a dream floating around my subconscious. As I ran track before school, I was that girl running 10 miles in high school because my mother wouldn't let me drive a certain time. I'd run 16 laps around a track at 5 in the morning and then go to school, high school, or swimming or doing extra miles on the track, and hiding running from my coach in college because she thought I was doing too much, swimming every day because that was my therapeutic time to process life and events of the day. So some call this obsessive, right? Obsessive, my mother included, a word that can often have a negative connotation. And I know you all have heard this quote before, but it's still plastered on my wall, but obsessed is a word the lazy use to describe the dedicated. So I never questioned this obsession, I guess. I knew it had a purpose down the road, even if it took time to escalate. So that continued after graduating college in 2000. I used my college graduation money to purchase my first time trial bike, and I entered an Ironman 2 weeks later. And now I want to also tell you that I proceeded to do that Ironman in running shorts. And so 8 hours on the bike was not really that vibrant. So during that time, I was navigating through my work career, starting as a manager at the Ritz-Carlton, and then moved onward to finance at RBC Capital Markets. And during the 10 years, I thoroughly enjoyed race season as an amateur, while I was maintaining that coveted balance we all desire, and also a beefy work regimen at the time. So there was a meticulously designed transition plan from going from a amateur triathlete who works full-time to a professional triathlete who works full-time to a full-time professional triathlete, which, believe it or not, is a job in itself. And this was not luck, and this was not accidental. At 30 years old at the time, it was a culmination of putting in that energy, like everyone does, for the things they enjoy and the work. And it evolved as I evolved and kind of figured out what I really wanted to be when I grew up. So as you can imagine, I've touched on my mom a little bit. My parents were mystified that I was leaving my comfortable, get a paycheck every 2 weeks, stable job, and I should probably reverse and say my mom was more horrified than mystified. Why, of course I consider her to be my Ohio conservative voice of reason. I told her, you know what, Mom? You always told me as long as I did my best, that's all that matters. Well, here I am, right? I want to make my hobby my job, and I'm trying to do my best. I, have a passion, I have a plan, and now I'm doing my best. And this is important to me personally, Mom. So it took her a bit of time. She's, of course, like on her 40th year working. I don't think she'll ever retire. And, she said this, she finally realized that how passionate I was about it and that this could work. Yeah, thanks, Mom. So, during my tenure in the real world, focused sayings have kind of helped me keep centered, and I'd love to share 4 of my favorites with you tonight. So the first one is getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So I apply this in sort of all facets of my life. Business, racing, training. We all are faced with choices in our life, and it's up to us to kind of determine how uncomfortable do we want to get and in the moment, so it will sort of allow us to move forward and prosper in the future. I know that for me, there are some sessions out there, I'm about to pop like a champagne cork, right? I'm on the brink, wounded animal-like, I'm barely able to hold on. The effort is just so extreme, yet tolerable. And let me just express, this is getting comfortable being uncomfortable at its finest. And right here, right there, it's that raw, subtle, gentle moment of discomfort. That's right there is where the magic happens. And this magic, much like all of you, it's never questions. It's never questions. It's here where we achieve the most success as athletes. So, and as humans, really. I know embracing this uncomfortable feeling will help to be a better athlete tomorrow, and that really helps me, especially on race day. So life is jam-packed, as we know, with these subtle moments, and we have to decide whether to stay in our comfort zone or push through adversity. And I know at mile 20 of an Ironman, let me just express to you, I am not cozy, I'm not comfy. And so, but I know if I have those tools that I experienced in training and getting comfortable being uncomfortable, I'm able to manage that better at mile 20 of an Ironman. So the second saying that I like is the ever cliche, keep calm, carry on, right? So I want to say in my first 2 money-making opportunities as a pro where I had left that job, I DNF'd, did not finish, okay? And I was devastated. I failed at my first 2 money-making chances, opportunities, and I had those dreadful DNF letters by my name, in which I have 4 now out of 50. I wish I could say I've done 61 Ironmans, but I have 4 DNFs. I find that you learn the most about a person when they're down, and I think it was so key not to have it be about how you got knocked down, which PS was on mile 22, as in 4 miles to go. Like, could you crawl it? Could you do it? No, pass out. But more so about how you can, right, get back up and sort of dust yourself off and learn from the mistakes. I think, honestly, the best thing that happened to me was to DNF, because I learned so much from that, and I learned from all 4 DNFs, I've learned something. The third saying, here we go, is never let success get to your head or failures get to your heart. So through my racing, I've really kind of channeled this quote countless times, because no matter how successful you all are, you will still saunter through those stumbling blocks of life puts in your path. And while of course I'm so grateful for any success I've achieved, whatever, one thing I'm not afraid of is to fail. And I'm gonna fail in the future. I could fail in my session tomorrow, but I'm not afraid of it. And I'm afraid of a lot of things, but I'm not afraid of failing, because I know the end result brings out something more authentic and positive. And so I think if we face enormous setbacks, we must learn from those mistakes and then sort of like get on with our lives, right? Don't dwell in it. This is true in business, racing, a grade in school, a failed relationship, so many things. On the flip side, I want to announce that when we have success in our life, it's really important to nourish it, enjoy it, never underestimate it, or the power of happiness and balance, celebrate it. There is equally as much learned from our successes as our failures, as long as we're also humble and appreciative with that. So another thing I like to do is take a bird's eye view at life and ask ourselves, right, what do I enjoy? What makes me happy? What do I love to do? And this is what I did several years ago, and I tried to learn how to take that information and the answers to my questions, and how could I derive an income from that and do something I love. And so this sort of parlays into my final mantra that I kind of live by, which of course is it's Saucony's motto of finding your strong and the art of finding your strong. And I love to be active. I love to work out or train as much as the day will allow. I always have, I always will. The question again was, how can I derive an income from something I love to do as my hobby, or what occupies such a huge portion of my day? So this idea circulated in my mind for so long. When I was working those traditional day jobs, it took years to put into action, but I think it was the shift, the 180-degree shift in my way of thinking of how to attain the goal. You know, today as a professional triathlete, we actually, believe it or not, we don't swim, bike, just swim, bike, and run all day. The profession, it really is a job in itself, and it should be treated as such. We all own our own marketing, sales, human resources, and social media teams, and we are also just the technician. There are so many people, significant others, sponsors, coaches, friends, family, and I could keep going, who help us get to the start line happy, healthy, and with our chi intact. And honestly, that's half the battle, right? So our business is very much team-oriented, and as we say, teamwork makes the dream work. I pinch myself still that my husband and I get to share in this together, this work-life balance, and this business is my livelihood, our livelihood. He did blow me off for a man's fishing trip tonight, just that way. Anywho, another thing I wanted to say, though, is speaking about balance, is you know, I was recently told that I needed to be more of a professional, a pro's pro, basically. And I would never be world champion unless I became more cutthroat. And what I sort of have to say about that is, that's a fair statement, right? But our brand is balance, and I'm married to my husband. I'm not married to triathlon. And balance is king. Sure, could I be a little fitter? Could I not drink a couple extra glasses a week of wine? Could I omit those Oreos on them? Sure, but it's kind of non-negotiable in terms of I'm not going to miss that girl's dinner at 8 o'clock at night to get that extra couple hours sleep. I'm not going to miss my best friend's 2-year-old birthday party to have my legs recover or whatever. It's just, I've always wanted to be remembered as Meredith the person versus Meredith the athlete, and that's really important to me personally. So to me, that's finding our strong. And so once again, it was getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, keep calm, carry on, never let success get to your head or failures get to your heart, and the art of finding your strong. So my last few thoughts, are we still with me? We're not bored to tears? Okay. I was taking inventory, just taking inventory. You know, we just got back from Ironman New Zealand, and I had the pleasure, if you haven't been, it's just a magical place, and you kind of land and your chi is C-H-I, chi. I talk about chi coming up. It's very much intact, and I had the pleasure of going to a couple of schools, and I got to talk to them about the importance of the word gumption and how important to me personally that word is since I was really young. You know, I had said that gumption had a real meaning behind its punch, It's kind of what gets you up in the morning with this motivated mindset to pursue dreams or simply your day. With fortitude, with grace, and accepting potential challenges, adversity, defeat. But more importantly, gumption was about never letting anyone or anything steal your light or break your stride emotionally, personally, physically. So speaking of chi, I'm a huge believer of chi and energy and where that sits in your soul and in your spirit. I feel like we have to channel that chi and that energy to things that matter to us personally. Obviously, Ironman and triathlon, everyone in this room, it matters to us, and we have this special bond, if you will, and this common challenge, and we're all surrounded by like-minded individuals. So as 2016 approached, I am all about everyone creating their new you 3.0, and I learned that from good friends of mine. Let me explain what that means. So in our you 1.0, right, it's totally cool, it's manageable, it maybe has a little riffraff in it, and likely you have a lot of things that you can do to improve. So we segue to our new you 2.0. We declutter a little bit more. We aim to formulate some better methods in life and sport. We often and understandably can remain so stagnant in our U 1.0 and our U 2.0, as life experience tends to shift us up and down this scale. So, but let me tell you, in your U 3.0, that is where you thrive, okay? And we really guard our hearts, we declutter the rest of the riffraff, and we accept that while we can't prevent negative, we still don't have to allow it into our hearts and into our spirit. So, in addition, in this new you 3.0, we acknowledge that we can't control everything that happens to us. We can only control how we respond to what happens to us. And in that is power, very, very liberating power. So once again, if you did not think I was sappy enough, now you know. But my God, we have so long to think about life out there in these races, right? It's just silly. So my point there is if you're wavering about a certain race, a bad business meeting, a terrible workout, whatever it is, you probably thought it would go way better than envisioned. I think it's important to remember this. I say it to myself a lot. We are stronger because of the hard times, wiser because of our mistakes, and happier because we have learned sadness, adversity, stresses, both on and off the course. So having been an age grouper for 10 years myself, I remember the juggling act that you all do to complete and compete in triathlon. You all balance families, your jobs, life, while doing this relentless hobby and passion. And I just invite you to really hug your Sherpa, embrace your inner circle, and relish in your achievements, every single one of them. And I also want everyone, if you have a drink, let's reach up. I'm grabbing my Sufferfest beer. And I just want to say, keep your chi, surround yourself with those who enrich your life, and do it with balance and your radiating gumption intact for you to find your new you 3.0. And cheers to you. Thank you for having me. And I hope I don't bore you to tears. You can also grab your Red Bull. As mentioned, I'm Deborah Christine. So aside from Red Bull, of course, two of my marquee sponsors are here. Ryan from Roca is here. Yep. And we are going to raffle off I've had the pleasure of being with Roca since the genesis, Jesse Thomas and I, for several years now. We watched Rob and Kurt grow it, bring on Ryan to tackle everything else that they didn't. And it's really been such a pleasure to be a part of that evolution. And I'm not just saying that, but there is no better wetsuit, no better company. Now diving into cycling wear, a lot on the horizon for Roca. not to mention the new R1 goggles. So tell me, Deb, what do they get tonight? They obviously get the Maverick Pro, and do they also get the goggles?
We're going to do this.
Oh, okay, got it. So it's one for, that's okay. That's okay. And what did Rudy give us tonight? The Triathlete?
Rudy, yes.
Awesome.
Triathlete glasses
Yep.
and a bag filled with like a little Rudy bag with some.
Yep.
So
Let me
these are
see.
the latest.
Right, and they come with clear lenses also, that really, they'll look clear to you, so if it's cloudy out, they'll stay clear. If it's sunny out, they tint. So these are great, and they're super light.
I need the man with the names. What are we
Awesome.
doing? Let's do the Rudy bag first.
Okay, perfect. Rudy. All right, Ron, I'm ready. Not looking. All right. I'm trying to get to the bottom, you just want to make sure. Okay, all right. Chris Devlin. Yes, Chris. Yes, thank you. I'm shaking your hand because you just got those. Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
Next is the R1.
Yes. R1
box.
an amazing box. The box itself you could sell on eBay and get. Just kidding. All right. David Welby. Congrats, sir. All right, now we're down to it.
So now we're going to do, this is the men's, right? This is the men's. Yeah, the men's. So let's try and see if we can.
All right, I'll try to do it. Men's Maverick
These are
Pro.
so comfortable. For those of you who don't have one, it's my favorite name.
Is Marty Ryan here?
What's going to happen is whoever wins.
Congrats.
These are for us to, just hold on to it. We will go to Brian. If you win the wetsuits, go over to Ryan and he will tell you how to contact him so we can get you your right size, okay? So these are not going home with you tonight. Sorry.
Unless they fit.
Unless they fit. No, we need this one. We want to try and get him, but
Okay.
we have one more pair of goggles, right? Okay.
Oh, good. Oh, that's right. We have the women's and the R1. Okay, great. Here comes another R1. Max Raimundo.
Which, by the way, Max was the first guy, besides Paul, to actually sign up and agree to ride with us for Wings for Life. And he's going to be out there at 4 o'clock in the morning with us. So come on, guys.
All right, we're doing the women's Mav Pro. Okay. I'll try to get a woman's name.
You gotta call a woman's name.
I don't. Billy Parsons.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Oh no!
Next, the one that went away must be present.
Katie Stapleton. Congrats, Katie. I'll hug it out. Yeah. It's not. Oh wait, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. Full on. Katie, full on. This is gonna be on you soon. Oh no. One more. Congrats. I'm gonna introduce Erin now. Yeah.
Before Erin comes out, and I just want to say thank you again to Meredith so much for that inspiring speech. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Also, thank you. And for you newbies, because I know we have a lot of newbies tonight, welcome to the club. All you old timers, please say hi to a newbie, make them feel welcome. We were all a newbie at one point. These are some of the fun things that we're going to have throughout the year, both here at Red Bull and our regular First Thursdays. So thank you, everyone. Thank our sponsors again, all of you, for coming out, for everything you do for us. We appreciate